Boom 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 boom. Well, I timed that nice. Hello, hello, hello. Checking, testing. I had it looping in my ears at the exact same time I checked the audio coming back, which was nice. Nice. All right, let's do this over here. Hello. Welcome to the live taping of Podcast Pontification with me, Evo Terra. Thank you very much for joining me on this lovely Tuesday. I shall be your host for the next 15 minutes or so. As I clear out the pipes and all of that. Hey, for the new people, you're watching the live taping of the program here. It's a podcast. I do it with the audio thing, this big microphone right here. Not really a video, but I make a video available because that's kind of fun. But anyhow, you're the behind-the-scenes stuff. Yeah, everything you're watching right now, nobody else will see. Well, unless they watch the replay. But none of this goes actually in the podcast itself because I edit. Yes, I do, as a matter of fact. Anyhow, if you want to watch all the live stuff, it's going to start in about 3 or 4 minutes from now. By all means, hang out. I'll be talking about the art of selling and keeping your podcast. Interesting topic for the day. But of course, if you would like to skip all of that, you got busier things to do. As I mentioned, this is a retaping. No, it's just a taping or a recording. And the final product will be available at podcastpontifications.com in about 3 hours. And while you're there, you can go get 430 some odd other episodes that I've done of this crazy show. I know, isn't it fun? Yes. So you get the audio over there. I'll write an article for those who prefer to read content as opposed to listen, because I get it. Sometimes I need to scan text. I'm like you. An article is important. That gets written as well. Fully, everything you need is right there. Don't have to listen to the audio if you don't want to. It's up to you. Your call. It's all you, man. Anyhow, all of that's available at podcastpontifications.com. And if you click the little button that says subscribe, you go to the bottom and you give us your email address, and the system will automatically send those things to you every single morning. Can't miss it. However you want to do it. Anyhow, I just noticed there's a bit of a glare on my glasses, so part of the live thing behind the scenes is you get to see how the sausage is made and how the glasses are cleaned, as it were. Right. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to launch the chat room. Oh my goodness. So people are probably saying hello to me and I missed it. So if you said hello, I'm sorry. I didn't have the chat room open. I have the chat room open now. So now you can say hello to me once again. I just see it. I am here. I will say, sorry about that. Okay, so housekeeping stuff. You know what I haven't even done today? I haven't even logged on to see if I can get to Apple Podcast Connect, but I probably can't. I got an email back from their developers saying, we have an important message from the developers, because I sent a ticket in saying, why can't I get this? Why not? So they sent me a lovely email back and said, an important message from our developers. And the line was, yeah, we know. Okay, it wasn't quite like that, but it was a single line saying, we are working very hard to solve the problem. Whatever. No further information required from you. Anyhow, you might have heard the news, but this is not part of the show. Again, we're going to talk about selling your show. Hi, Neil. Good morning. You also probably heard the news that Spotify has, in fact, said, hey, here's our paid subscription service, and it's clunky. There's lots of problems. We're not going to talk about that on the program today, but I'm sure you've seen lots of news about Spotify. I will have more information about that in the coming days, but I don't want to make this a breaking news show, and it feels like I have as of late. Although the things I'm talking about today are kind of breaking news, but they're more reactions to the news that happened. I know. So I've got plenty of things to talk about for the longest time. Mark Stedman also has nothing from Apple Podcast Connect. Yay. Anyhow, such is life. All right, gentlemen and ladies who might be watching, and those who are between or beyond, I should say, the binary, as my friend says. Let's move all of this over. Sorry, my friend Drew says, sorry, I was looking at something and my mind went somewhere else. Right, I think we're good to go. Here we go, ready for this. Let's move this over here. Where's my script? You know, because I have to have a script. And it starts with me saying the following. Mergers and acquisitions in podcasting show no signs. Mergers and acquisitions of podcasting Mergers and acquisitions in podcasting show no signs of slowing. And now individual shows are getting scooped up. As a podcast owner, would you consider shelling your show? Shelling your show? Shelling it? Shelling it? More importantly, should you? One more time, Evo. Mergers and acquisitions in podcasting show no signs of waning, slowing. Why am I making up words? Fuck it, we'll do it live. All right, here we go. Mergers and acquisitions in podcasting show no signs of slowing. And now, individual shows are getting scooped up. As a podcast owner, would you consider selling your show? More importantly, should you? Hello and welcome to another Podcast Pontifications with me, Evo Terra. In case you missed the news, amongst all the other news that's out there yesterday, 2 shows were sold. Relatively high-profile shows, one big, one smallish. You probably read the news that Roman Mars has sold 99% Invisible to Sirius XM Radio. Ooh, they own Stitcher and Midroll and a bunch of other things. Jay Acunzo sold 3 clips, the show he does that breaks down podcasting. It's a podcast about podcasting, if you will, to Castos. Yeah, big deal. And I was updating the Airtable that Ann Baird and I created to track all of this activity. And of course, you will find a link in the episode details to said Airtable with all of the mergers and acquisitions of podcasting. And I realized, wow, there's a lot. There are a lot of things happening, and now they're continuing to happen. So it got me thinking about selling. Specifically around the question, should you sell your podcast? If someone comes a-knocking and says, I would like to buy your podcast, should you sell it? Yes. Show's over. No, I'm kidding. The show's not over. I have more to say about that one. But yes, I think you should at least entertain the offer. There's no such thing as selling out. Only the possibility of selling too cheaply. Wise words from a friend of mine named Dave Slusher, longtime podcaster, longer than me, of Evil Genius Chronicles, shared that with me a long, long time ago. Now, selling a podcast might be different than the way you're thinking about selling things in general. I don't know what your relationship is with selling things, but look, oftentimes when you sell something, if you sell your house to someone, you can't live in your house. Someone's going to want the house to live in. That's why they bought it. Podcasting's a little bit different, especially these 2 most recent deals, because while they were sold, both of the hosts get to keep doing the show. The same way they were, maybe. Different way, sure, whatever. But they did not sell it to someone and said, here it is, I'm out of here, off to the Caribbean. Nope. They sold it, and they're staying involved. They're still the host of the program, right? It's not like they sold all of the ad inventory. That's one way to sell your show. But this was actually selling the license and the agreement and all of that. But here, I will sit behind the microphone and keep doing the things that I do. Now, that's interesting. That's getting all of the support behind you, but you can still continue to do the things that you want to do. And I'll have links to both of the articles that both Jay and Roman put out that explain why they did that and what they're looking forward to. But for the rest of the time we have here together today, I thought I'd talk about some pros. Not professionals, but the pros as opposed to the cons. Why would you do something like this? I think the biggest reason you, me, any podcaster should consider selling our show if someone comes knocking is cash. Cash is good. We all have different levels of cash that we need, but cash is good. In fact, Roman got enough cash to let him kick in at least $1 million back to his old company, PRX, over the next 4 years. That's a fair chunk of change, I would think. Having cash up front allows you to do a lot of work, right? But the primary pro is cash. You're not worried about cash flow. You're not worried about paying your rent for the next X months, years, whatever else. Second pro, focus. See cash, by the way, on why you are allowed to focus, but really focusing when you've sold it to someone and you're still the host means you can double down and do the things you wanted to do with your podcast in the first place. And then lean on your partner, owner, whatever they're called, to do the things that you don't want to do. Maybe sell inventory, maybe do all the marketing. Who knows what it is you don't want to do, but you now have the focus because you no longer have to do everything. Now you can focus in on just the parts that got you jazzed about doing the show in the first place, or that you discovered during the show's evolution. These are the things you want to do. Because of that cash, now you have the focus, and also because of the business partners, you now have the focus to stay doing just the things you want to do. Third pro, you have access to the future. Here's what I mean by that. You see, most deals for acquisition of a show have some sort of either an end date or a renewal date, not to where the rights revert back to the original owner, although I guess that's possible, but typically where the host, you, would get to duck out after 6 months, 6 years, whatever the time frame is. It's up to the two of you whether or not you want to continue on, right? Having that date out there, having a definite end date written down on a contract makes you think about the future. It makes you think what you're going to do after this. A lot of times podcasting can feel a little bit like a weight that's constantly dragging you down because it's a thing I have to do every day or week or month or whenever you put your show out with no end in sight because that's the podcast you've structured. This changes that. You can now focus on that end date. It gives you some sort of a sense of accomplishment already because you've made one major milestone, or maybe more before that, but at least this one big one of selling your content. Now you're looking forward to this next milestone when your contract is over, so you can start thinking about what's next for you. And of course, with anytime there are pros, there are cons, right? And I don't want to dwell on the cons because there are many of them, but I think the biggest one that all boils down to is that you're no longer the sole decision maker. When you sell your show and stay in the hosting seat, you got a job. You have a job, or at least you have a boss or a partner who's making decisions along with you. It's not just all about you. But again, cash, focus, future, I think I might trade some of those things. In fact, would I take my own advice? Absolutely. You bet. The ability to focus really deeply on what really jazzes me about this kind of stuff and thinking about the future, all of that makes really good sense. Should you? Well, again, I think you'd be foolish not to at least entertain the offer. Doesn't mean you have to do it, but at least have the conversation and start thinking about future, or cash, and focus, and future. And this is normally the part of the show where I say, share this article with a friend, although maybe instead this time, you should share this article with a company or a firm who you think might be interested in acquiring your podcast. And since no one is offering to buy me or my podcast, you can at least buy me a coffee over at buymeacoffee.com/evoterra. Thanks. That's it. I shall be back tomorrow with yet another podcast pontifications. Cheers. Recording has stopped. Going back to the restream. Oh, here we go. Hello, Stephanie. Yeah, that's a dream as long as a decision power still. You know what? I think, Steph, right, I'm reading your comments here, right. So, I think both in Jay's case and in Roman's case, and I haven't spoken with either of them. I don't have any inside details, so I tried to keep it more hypothetical. I think they still get lots of creative decision power. Maybe not all of it, but certainly a lot of it. And exactly right. Your last point there you just mentioned in the chat, Steph, is that we can start a new show. Absolutely, we can and we should keep going, right? If we want to. Who knows? Maybe just cash your big fat check, go hang out in Aruba. Never been to Aruba. Yeah, anyhow. Right, so hey, for the new people watching who came in late, yes, you can go back to the entire beginning if you want to, or just wait about 2 hours and 45 minutes from now. The edited version of this will be available in audio form and in text form. No, it's not just a transcript. It's actually an article you would like to read. Both of those things will be done as they are for every one of the episodes I put out. And it's at podcastpontifications.com, or it will be there, again, in 2 hours and 46 minutes. See, I'm losing time already. All right, everybody, thanks for your attention. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Let's do this again tomorrow, shall we? We shall. Bye.